There are people out there right now, as I record this, and as you listen to this, who are dying of drinking toxic water because they were desperate, because they didn't have another option, because they were dying of thirst and the only water that was available to them was toxic, contaminated water. 1/3 of the entire world lives in this situation, if not all the time, then at least for the majority of the time, where they do not have reliable access to quality water. Thousands of children are dying, not in just a way, this isn't a natural death where you just die in your sleep. This is horrific, painful death, which I will not describe in detail. And here in America, we not only have access to clean water on a reliable basis, we have access to weeds just growing outside of our door that are more healthy than the foods we go to the grocery store and buy. We get in our car and we spend money on gasoline, we pollute the air when we drive to the grocery store, then we buy all types of products that have been driven across the world and across the country, flown in airplanes, taken in boats that have also polluted the world, and then we take this produce home and it's not even as good for us or as fresh as the weeds that we call weeds that grow outside in many countries in the world, and in some places in America. These very same things that people are uprooting out of their gardens as discarded things that they don't want are edible, good for you, healing medicines. It's extracts from these weeds like dandelions and burdock and nettles. These things, extracts are taken from them and put into pills, which make them less effective, and then you go and pay a bunch of money to have it put into plastic, which wastes all kinds of water and puts toxicity into the air and into the earth in order to produce the plastic, to create the bottle, to put the pills in it, and then the pills are shipped and then they go into a truck that pollutes the earth, and then it's shipped to you and into your home, and then you take the pill and it's not even as effective as going outside and eating the goddamn weeds that are on your lawn. So you go to your job, which you probably drive to or take public transit to, polluting the world, in a machine of death and destruction, and then you go and work this job that you probably can't stand, and work under some dickhead with a bunch of dickheads and feel all crappy about your life, and oh boo-hoo me, and oh boo-hoo this, and I can't afford my medical bills, and I can't afford to do anything better for myself, and I can't afford this, and I can't afford that. Guess what? There's free food in your neighborhood. You could eat and survive in your neighborhood for free. There's enough rainfall in most of the places in the country where if you had rain barrels, you could not only have enough water for drinking, but enough water for bathing and for your garden without even paying any utility bill. Where there are people in the world who don't have enough rainfall to do that, who don't have any piping anywhere, who walk hours every day to get to a well that may or may not have water in it, and then if it's not safe water, if they don't go through the process of boiling it, then they might become sick and die. And here you are complaining about your poor miserable problems. Guess what? All of your problems can be resolved with the weeds growing in your yard. Cancer, that can be cured. There is a big hush up because what? They want money. Why is there a lack of water? Because Coca-Cola and other companies are drilling into the water supply, aquifers, draining all the water, putting it into their soda, and then contaminating it with high fructose corn syrup and destroying all of the nutritional value of the water, destroying all of the value of hundreds of thousands of ecological natural resources that could be freely available to everybody if we were only educated about what we could and could not eat in nature. Everybody could have water, everybody could have enough food if we were all educated about what we could eat and how we could grow it on self-sustaining means. There is no need to ship things from Africa to here in order to eat, in order to live, or in order to have a better quality of life. It's not necessary. The resources, all the resources that any animal on the planet needs are in the area that it's born to. If it's not, then the herd migrates for seasonal reasons, and then it migrates back. They don't require all these hundreds of thousands of other people to ship things all over the place and toxify the earth in order to get anything. They don't require cooking. There's no other animal on the planet that requires cooking their food. They go and eat it. They eat it raw. They eat it fresh. They eat it where they can find it. They live where they can sustainably exist year after year, generation after generation. Every animal on the planet. The only animals who do anything different is because of our influence. Their bodies are sufficient enough to detoxify them. They don't need doctors in order to heal them. They don't get sick in the first place because they eat it naturally. They eat it locally. They eat it where it comes from. They don't eat it far, hundreds of thousands of miles where it comes from after it's been modified, after all the minerals and all the nutrients have been taken out of it, after the water's been dehydrated out of it, after all of the nutrients have been cooked to death, after the enzymes have been killed. They don't eat it that way. They eat it natural, full of all of the enzymes, full of all the nutrients it came with, fresh, with the right amount of moisture in it, with the right amount of fiber in it, with the right balance of fructose and glucose, with the right balance of sodium and potassium, with the right balance of calcium and magnesium. Everything they need is right there, and this is true for humans too. All this artificial crap around us does not help. It does not help us. We do not need any of this. Every technology we have is not necessary for optimal survival. In fact, it's hindering optimal survival. Does this mean technology is evil? No. This means people are ignorant. Ignorance is the problem, that we don't realize that we have the power in our hands to change things right now. We have the power in our hands to change right now. Educate yourself.